At least David Ruffin had the honesty to say, ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. This week on Hip Hop Stocks, where we use the music we love to explain the stock market. And this week, music is down again, but I'm not worried because the mother of all short squeezes is on the way. What does that mean? A massive jump in our stocks due to Kanye and Drake beefing centered around album releases? Meaning that we're going to get one, and then we have to get the other. Also, the losses of not releasing music is catching up with Kanye. Eventually, the labels will margin call him and put the music out themselves. And with all this going on, Kendrick Lamar has come out of hibernation, announcing that his next album will be his last album under TDE. This news, I'm gonna need more time, so stay tuned. But this short squeeze could include albums from Kanye, Drake, and Kendrick all at the same time. What's the odds? This could go down as one of the biggest short squeezes in the history of hip hop. This kind of news make the last 2 weeks of losses worthwhile. But this week, didn't get a single song for the playlist, but had some good moments though. Started with Trippie Red featuring Drake, because clearly no one cared about Trip at Night. How was the song? It wasn't bad, but it's still a Trippie Red song, and y'all get too hyped over empty calorie bars? When the actual diss songs hit the internet, then you can at me. I finally listened to a Dame Lillard album, different on levels the Lord allows, or D.O.L.L.A for short. And it was cool. He is easily the best athlete rapper that I've ever come across. Better than Allen Iverson. Now Dame is not that far from being a solid rapper. He just needs to master his delivery and become so authentic that he loses his endorsements. From that point, he could become great. Ever wonder why Disney stars have to do something scandalous to be respected as adult actors? Same concept. And as a Blazers fan, this is why I never wanted to hear a Dame album. It's like being a Cameron fan watching him try to freestyle against the Locks. The life that you live disqualifies you from what this genre is all about. You're good enough to get there if you put in more work and have less handcuffs, but wait until you retire or become like the league's most hated for forcing your way out of Portland. But my recommendation, if Dame actually views this, would be to use your power and influence to be a label owner and put on acts who are ready right now. I could give you the list, starting with some West Coast MCs that you would really like. But continue to put in the work, you could be great one day. But let's go ahead and look at some of the biggest trending stocks of this week. Kendrick Lamar is up, as he just told TDE that he's taking his talents to South Beach. So Kendrick Lamar posted a message reflecting on the past 17 years that he's had being with TDE, announcing that this project would be his last, stating that love, grief, and loss interrupted his comfort zone. So as the world evolves around him, he reflects on what matters the most. Quote, "The life in which my words will land next," end quote. That's what matters most to you. Really. He then continues to tell us how big TDE is and how the relationships that he got are forever and blah 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 blah. I agree with Isaiah Rashad here when he tweeted, "Everybody emotional. You not that special. You embarrassing us." Even as he said that that was directed towards an ex, I just feel as though that's the perfect response here. At least David Ruffin had the honesty to say, ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. I understand that you don't want to lose the relationships that you have, but this is business. You don't have to put extras on it or try to keep the down-to-earth image. You could have just walked away. People would have understood if you just went the full Interscope with Dr. Dre when you had the chance. Your reason for leaving should have just been, yo, it's time for me to build my own. Peace and love to TDE. I'll look out where I can, but I got to get out here and I got to get it. See, people would respect that, because everyone knows that point where you have to level up. But when you give a word salad as an excuse for walking away, you are treating your followers and fellow artists and connections like they are stupid. And I guess all those co-signing this message are. Yes, we are living in a politically correct time where individuals like DaBaby are getting canceled for statements being made on social media. People in this industry have been blackballed for less. I understand this, but this is not a situation where sugarcoating was required. But since Kendrick did the most, you can't ignore the arrogance. How are we playing this stock? this changes nothing. I'm sure that you guys are more invested in this stock than I am, but this is a blue chip stock that's going to just continue to climb. People care more about the new album being good over the label that it's attached to. But this is some key information to remember as an indicator for when the day does come where we're going to have to sell this stock. If I sold my shares in Jay-Z, then I'll sell my shares in Kendrick too. Fat Joe is down as some paperwork came back dirty. It doesn't shock me because he's one of those celebrities that spoke out against Bill Cosby's release in an obvious railroading by police for anyone who's followed the trial instead of just the headlines that you're spoon-fed by the news. Or how's about his support for Andrew Yang? How's that minority coalition been going to this point? You know, the guy who never gave a piece of Big Pun's masses to his children, but still claims that he did right to that man to this day? See, when you put all of the pieces together, you begin to see the common denominator, and nothing about Fat Joe says integrity. This is why you always do your own research and read more than the headlines before you support a stock. So the paperwork that was released includes Fat Joe's government name, explain where the alias Joey Crack came from, and the details of a hit for hire. People are currently trying to verify this paperwork, and all I'm saying is, it fits given what we know about him. Then there are other things. This incident happened in Boston. How do I know this? The detective who signed it is also a steroid junkie who got caught, as there's been many reports of Fat Joe informing law enforcement in the past from the likes of, say, 50 Cent. But this could be the most definite evidence to this point. And for anybody who hears this news and is saying, so? You know, the people who don't care when someone was dishonest to them, but yet you supported them over the years? Those who remain blind to reality because they are fans hoping to get a seat on the bandwagon? If Fat Joe even have any of those left. This is getting to the point that if you let this slide, then you must be questioned as well. So how are we playing this stock? If you have any stake in it, then you got caught holding the bag, and you should have sold it a long time ago. This one looks to be either heading towards zero or a permanent ban, much like Snitch 9. You must always follow your stocks, because when something key about the fundamentals of that stock changes, it can plummet. On this exchange, an informant sabotages the trust that investors demand out of their stocks. Things like this don't end well after this point.